working. Yay. So we're doing the Pilot Club flights. The first one's from Boston to Rhode Island. Around 3,000 feet. Just quick, see that that's about halfway there. I should have turned on earlier because the departure out of Boston was really enjoyable. So, and I'm just doing a 172 because even a 172 there's only a 30-minute flight. Midway, I forgot to change my fuel again. I hate when I do that. 172 is the only one I know where it starts you on just one tank. So you have to put that in your checklist to make sure it's on both. I find that a bit frustrating. But I suppose they do that in the world too. So I don't remember that in my Cessna. I don't remember having had that problem. It was pre-day. You can see that we don't have any VATSIM on. We did at Boston. He just he went offline. We're getting close to PVD. Let's take a look. So PVD doesn't have a lot of charts. Actually, it has approach, it has charts, but we're clearly VFR. Let's take a quick listen to the VFR. To the Avis. It's 124.2.
Airport information uniform 1600 Zulu. Wind 004 at Niner. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 24. Dew point Niner. Altimeter tree 011. ILS runway tree 4 in use. Landing and departing runway tree 4. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have uniform. Providence Airport information uniform 1600 Zulu. Wind 004 at Niner. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 24. Dew point Niner. Altimeter tree 011. ILS runway tree 4 in use. Landing and departing runway tree 4. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact. You have uniform.
Alright, very good. So, wind's out of the north, barely out of the north, almost none. So I could take whatever I wanted. They're using 3-4, so I'll use 3-4, which is weird. But that's okay. I don't need to use 700 feet. No, I only need 2,000. I can probably land and be off before you hit the fire station. So the all patterns are the same at all airfields in VFR. It's the downwind is always 800 above the elevation. So we see our elevation is, well, I usually read it off the runway. You could read it off the chart, but since it's 44 here, it's good enough. So 844 is the downwind. Entry into the downwind is always 500 above, so 800 plus 5 is 13, so 1,300 is the entry level. So we're at 10 miles out. This is the time. 10 miles out, you turn on your landing light. Always. Doesn't matter day or night. And we'll want to be patterned. I've never been to this field. That's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to, since I know it's going to be 1,300, and I want to stay 1,500 above this, folks. So I'm going to, remember, you need to be 1,000 above any structures. So we're looking at about, let's say 100 elevation for these folks down below us. And you can see the field already ahead of us. So we're going to announce that they have a CTAF. It is CTAF is always the tower, assuming the tower is closed, unless it's marked differently. So it'll actually say CTAF. So here is CTAF 120.7. We got 120.7 in there. Mash the button at the top so you can change your controls. Mash the transfer button 120.7. I have COM1 transmit maps to my push to talk button. Unfortunately, Microsoft does not have a more generic push to talk, which uses whatever COM you're selecting. Now they do have a COM1 and a COM2 transmit, and there is a switch to flip between the two. I don't have enough bytes to do that, so I just use COM1 all the time for talking and COM2 for listening. So we're less than 5 miles out. Providence traffic, Pilot Club 159, 6 miles north of the field, inbound to land runway 34, using the VFR pattern left traffic, Pilot Club 159. So we know now, and I could just descend under power or manually, but I'm not that. So we'll put that down to 1300. We're going to switch to speed, which is 120 is okay. We're going to bring the power back to the low end of the green, see what we get from that. Oh yeah, there we go. That sounds good. So we'll come down to, and you can see runway 4 is crossing us here. So I'm sorry, we're coming right into the downwind, right? From where you can see it, right in front of us. Now, that in light, since we know it's runway 4, and I'm almost there already, I need to go to just a couple more degrees, right? So I'm at 223. 220 would be straight in. So 4 plus. All right, we don't need to put heat on this baby. We're not cold for landing. Carb heat's a good idea when you're descending. This has static air. We're going to turn off the autopilot now. We're going to let it continue to descend. The power for descent in a Cessna is 18 to hold level at this, what you want. That'll get you 105. As soon as you are midfield, put in your first notch of flaps. And I know I seem very tight to the runway, but this is a Cessna and it can actually turn that sharp. So we'll go out a little bit. And so remember, now we want to go to 800. We'll say 900. Now we bring the power to 14. Start our base turn, 1 notch of flaps. 30-degree turn. It might be a little tight for 30 degrees, but try never to do more than 30 degrees. And you can see I got a pretty good rudder because my rudder turn bank indicator, which is the bar below the triangle, is dead center. There we go. Now you go a little more than 90 because I like to go see the runway. And we're lined up very nicely.
500.
Well, in traffic, Pilot Club 159, final runway 4. I'm sorry, 5. I am not, this is not it. I'm bemused. Oh, this is it. Okay. It's just the markings are wrong. Scenery markings are off. That's confusing.
Stall.
Alright. There's a little bit of left crosswind. Flaps up. And we're going all the way, we're taxing all the way to the end. When I thought we got quite. So what the way Microsoft lets you know that you are crosswind is that it'll weather vane the plane on the ground, which I find very irritating. So just so you can see the sock is to the left and between 5 and 10 knots in terms of its angle. So that's a pretty good one. So we're going to have a pretty sharp left. You can see we're coming up on the turn in here. And then we can see all the general aviation aircraft. Slowing it down. Little planes can cheat on the taxi markers. Big planes cannot. And then we'll be going to the right onto Alpha. Around traffic, pilot the 159 is clearly active. You can turn strobes off, turn landing light on. Don't need a taxi light today. I think I programmed in a parking spot, didn't I? I guess not. Okay. I usually try to program in a parking spot in Microsoft so that I can use GSX and get the services. There's a nice little spot of oil there. That's where we'll go. I don't see any marshals. It's not by me. I see one marshaller by some other Piper over there. 3 longitude, 3 CRJ. Alright. Is this a parking spot? I don't know if it is. I think another one's a parking spot. Well, that's poopy. New spot for me. Alright, we'll use this one on the right here. That's good enough for going to work. So we're going to get out of this one, end this flight, and we'll see what the next flight is and move to that one. Parking brake on, lights off, avionics off. Kill the engine, battery power off. Switch to regular monitor. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, now we got monitors where they're supposed to be. Now we can switch. Do not, if you flip to VR and your virtual desktop is not ready, even if it catches up, as it just did, Microsoft Flight Simulator will say, they are not found, and it will freeze, and you can't get out of it. Okay, so I think I have the batteries on this one set up. Yeah, so both batteries go on. That's how this one does. Both generators go on. And the fuel. But look at the fuel. Make sure everything's set. PD. Let's see what it says I have. 194. So I have set refuel in my as a hotkey, so I can hit it once and then sync the fob, and 266 is what I would prefer to have. So I can fit. In fact, I can fill it all the way. The Vision Jet does not care. It can land fully filled. So full fuel is, I believe, 296. Yeah. So we'll confirm that. Hit next. Aircraft loading, it's just me. I just put in a weight in here. And I always put in carry 50 pounds, I never do. And then hit click. And that's not actually how we're going to do this, right? So we go back and get our bring up our Navigraph, and I need to reconnect to that's in. All right, now it is connected. Sometimes virtual simulated radio, VSR, doesn't like it hangs up or crashes. Let me just turn something. So I'm opening it. You have to have the VSR server running on your computer in order to get to that send information into your VFR headset. So that's called VSR. That's the app. And it's a little quirky, but it works. Wait for it to load. There we go. It's a little quirky because you see it puts the controller all the way across here. But if you move this, it'll bring the columns back in. So you can see there's nobody who's going to be patrolling our area. And it looks like Philadelphia Tower is not even online anymore. We'll have to see when we get there. So go to Navigraph, dismiss that, unload this old one, import the SimBrief flight. We can use it. Okay, so it says your best departure is from runway 5. Way down there. Well, we can do that. It's 800 feet. I can do it from intersection Foxtrot. So we'll do only 5, but we'll take off from Foxtrot. Get this a little bit out of the way so I can use my stuff. You see we got full field now. Set the altimeter. And when I don't have any way to set the altimeter, I just use the cheat, the altimeter button or key. this says 3-4. Let's change this. So what happens if we choose 3-4? 3-4 is also acceptable. Okay, that's updated. And then our routing is not in there, so we'll have to. I don't know why it's not in there. I got the gyms 4 here. Okay. So there's nothing here, so we're gonna click on the procedures. Our arrival is Gyms 4 from Briggs. We're on runway 9 right. We'll load that. And I don't think we need anything intermittent. Take a look. Oh, we're going to go to jumper and then rifle. So none of these got put in here. We got them all in. That's unfortunate. Flight plan options. I don't know what this is. I couldn't remember the symbol that made load from SimBrief. I guess not. So JUMPR. And rifle. Actually, we're going to cut back that. So I believe there's a way to put this airway on. Put to 139. Entering at rifle. Exiting at Briggs. Right? Entry 9. So they tell me it's Q439, rifle to Briggs. Maybe that will try. Maybe I have to put in the first waypoint. Right. Yep. Yep, that's what I do. Now I can load the other. Q439. Find Briggs. There's 30, maybe that'll go up. There we go. There's Briggs. We'll load that airway. And from Briggs, this way, Gyms 4. And it has from Briggs to iRocket. There we go. Going on. Excellent. Now, since we have it, and since we're a jet, runway 9, right, see what procedures we have available to us. Come on, right. Oh, look at that. MXC initial approach. Okay, so let's just do that. I don't think I'll need minimums, but let's see what they are. Put them in because it's a smart thing to do. Add that to the route. So swing all around. Actually, we want to go straight to final, don't we? What else is there? So just how about the straight ILS? So we have in the straight ILS, because the simple ILS might be all we need. Well, what we can do is this beautiful thing about this is the RNAV Zulu might work better. Yeah. Because you can see we're coming into weave, which is where the RNAV Zulu or Yankee works. So let's look at each of those. DQQ. So this is the simple one, which is really all we need. So we'll do the RNAV Zulu. RNAV Zulu 9, right. Oh, it's not going to let me. It says I have to do the RNAV Yankee. And we'll just go to DQQ. So, get rid of that and switch it to the RNAV Yankee. Makes sense, we're a jet. We shouldn't be using the simple one. We should be using the fancy one. Alright. That'll take us into the slant. We'll load that. We'll just go, I'll put the minimums in so that we'll use it when needed it. Make sure I have no disconnects. I'm done with waypoints. Alright, looks like we're all set with flight plan. Will be 4,000 of B1, 91. Notice there's a manual sequence from MANSEC to DQQ. So we're going to have to look at this. Ernie's way over there. So we get rid of Ernie and weave. We only want water. So we're going to remove this waypoint. We'll remove this waypoint. Now we got our water. That's what we want. We'll go right to DQQ. Take a look at that map. The Yankee. And I'm looking at 4,000, 3,000. The only mandatory is 1,800. It's in bold. Final approach fix. Actually, it doesn't say mandatory on it, so we just got to be at 1,800. Alright, it should work. We'll accept this initialization. Bring the flight plan back on so I have it. Alright, power's on. What I don't see is, let's see, our nav. Okay. Well done there. Everything's set. Still don't have anybody to talk to. So just can't get clearance. Alright, so let's get the airport up here. Plan our taxi. We're going to go runway 34. We're here. We're going to assume that they would have given us this. And I draw it. When they give me instruction, I have that out and ready to draw it. Because there's not much you can do. Alright, now we can do the startup sequence. You can do the checklist and memorize it at this point. So, first thing you do, we've done everything we can in the FMS. We are currently at 60 feet, and we need to know CAS can be used up to 1600 AGL. So 1600, we're going to change this minimum to barometric. We'll put it back later. That's 1600. Let's remind me how high, I'm sorry, 1660. Let's remind me, and if something happens, I can pull the CAS up to 1660. So, the next thing we do, make sure all the buttons are in the right place. Make sure the throttle's in the right place. Fuel control's on auto. We fixed our fuel. We see a CAS warning about takeoff. Pitch, as you can see here, is too low. We're going to bring it up. I don't know what the bug is that does that, because it's definitely not, I do not have that mapped that way. If I hit it again, that's something they supposedly fixed in the patch. Clearly it didn't fix. Okay. Yeah, I know. So to start up is pretty straightforward. Everything's set. I don't set the FMS stuff, it's just run. Just wait and see if you can hear the fuel pump. I want to look for the CAS indicators on. Start the engine. Yeah. So, we know we're taking off runway 34. We'll put that up. Heading bug. The sim brief OFP and look. You can see our max reload. Look, here's my top climb. So flight level 240. So that's what we're going to put in. Always turn on the windshield ice. Yes. The other ones I'm not so sure you have to need, but windshield ice catches you on washers. Bleed is on. You know that because we see magenta on our air pressure. And we know we want 240. So we'll just grind that baby up to 240. You would get step climbs, of course, if you had controllers online, but we don't. Now, I have to look. I don't know that my file was there. So let's go look. Pre-file. That's in pre-file. Continue. Why it did something like why it's showing me this and not what it had. But this, I've noticed the MB sim is not as good. Okay, so we went to airport again, we're through our line. We know CTAF is 120.7. Where are we at here? 127 transfer. And then our ATIS is 124.2. It's so much easier to use. No audio radios. It's on con 1. I noticed I did not get a message.
Providence Airport Information Uniform 1700 Zulu. Wind tree 54 at 9er. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 25. Dew point 9er. Altimeter tree 011. ILS runway tree 4 in use. Landing and departing runway tree 4. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back, hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have a uniform. Providence Airport Information Victor 1700 Zulu. Wind tree 54 at 9er. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 25. Dew point 9er. Altimeter tree 011. ILS runway tree 4 in use. Landing and departing runway tree 4. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back, hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact you have Victor.
What did she say?
Providence Airport Information Victor 1700 Zulu. Wind tree 54 at 9er. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 25. Dew point 9er. Altimeter tree 011. ILS runway tree 4 in use. Landing and departing runway tree 4. VFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back, hold short instructions.
Okay.
Advise controller on initial contact you have Victor.
We have Victor. We know that Victor.
Traffic Liver 4492, 30 miles to the south. As the field is down on the aisle left, straight in runway flag approach. 7000 feet street from traffic.
And we know we're on the seat that was just for a second. Roberts traffic, 55159 at the FBO, taxiing to runway 34 via Mike Charlie. We'll hold on runway 5 to make sure there's no traffic. Okay, flaps down a notch. They don't have much light in this thing, I just turn it on. It's safer. You can see the pointer on it's about 25 to get the thing moving. These guys clean off their trolleys. Now I'll show you if you're in career mode, anytime really, especially the bigger aircraft. If you do external, you're less likely to hit something. When you have a big aircraft and career mode, they put you in some stupid, parking spot between hangars or something. You can fly the whole career mode flight for an hour and a half, 3 hours, and then end up crashing because your wing touched the imaginary edge of the hangar. So when I'm in career mode, I exit this way, very cautious not to hit any other aircraft. Some of the spawn aircraft ready to taxi, and you would guess that would crash. So in career mode. So I'll just bring that to your attention. Don't really need it here. And the other thing I tend to do, which is not good, I know that around 10 or 12 I maintain my taxi speed. And so I will do a sim rate, even if that's 2 on the ground. I won't do it in the air, I won't do it on the control. Definitely. So, yeah, I don't. Traffic, Alpha 159 crossing the runway 34 at Bravo. Alpha 159 is clear of 34. sim rate, but it's going to know it's right there on the compass. Go back to 1. Another traffic coming into Providence in position.
We're about 2 miles to the south of the field. We are checking the ILS flight.
Roger. We have enough time then. Pilot for 159, statement runway 34 for departure to the southwest. So now we're going to do a couple things. First thing is we got to make sure our takeoff thrust is set. We just put it takeoff thrust. So it's
Lindbergh 4492, we're about 5 out from cancel, maintain 2,100 and full steps. So the ILS flight approach from the track.
159 is departing over 34. Woke up. Check. First, I don't know why I take off marker 2. Why? It's okay. This part, we gotta go. There's this one here. Start to turn. We want to be well above the air that's coming in, so make sure it's 5,000. Look at this.
Weather observation. 1700 Zulu. Wind 037 at 4. Visibility 1. Sky condition clear. Temperature 25C. 2.11C. Altimeter 3013. November 1-2 automated weather observation. 1700 Zulu. Wind 035 at 4. Visibility 1. Sky condition clear. Temperature 2.
Uniform as an good. Turn the lights on. Outside our temperature 6. Let's get it low. So I didn't take it off. I'm able to sit and watch this at this point, so I'm able to do something. Say they gave you good reference. Thank you, agency, for your direct reference. It depends on the terrain and what you're talking about. My is water positive, 16 is kind of what I'm looking for is ready for the speed. So if the bounce is greater than 300, it's going to be well done sliders.
vertical track.
Sort of figured out the 6,000. 5. So once we get 6,000, we're back to the class. If we look at it, it's class. So these are the
vertical track.
My association with that is if it's LPG, it's flies on the highways. If it's a L19, it flies on the highways. just on that fucking moment. That's my so we want now we're gonna have to read the here, it's pretty darn close to the sea levels. Here down, stabilize. As soon as we're this plane is not easy to control at low airspeed, so and there's no need to go too slow.
Minimums. Minimums.
So we're gonna go to Cargo City. Because the FBO terminal is ridiculously far. Generators are pretty, this one modified to automatic, so it'll just spin, it's going to be power. Switch to auto mode.